We're live. So
Our,
welcome to the channel, Nine Lines.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
it's great to have you here, and I thank you for all the support you've given us and stuff, all the comments, the reaction and stuff. We're to do the Empire Strikes Back review.
Let's do
So
it.
first off, we're gonna start off with the plot and story. So it's already over here. So Luke, you can go ahead. What do you think of the plot and story of Empire Strikes Back? How it feels? Do you think it's flows in the right direction? What do you think?
well, I think a lot of people would agree with me, and by this is a lot of people like this as their favorite in the original trilogy, and I mean with good reason as well. I think that there's like what makes this good, in my opinion, and a bit better than A New Hope is that there's like two different stories. Whereas like A New Hope, it was just like all the characters were together and it kind of told one direct thing. This kind of made two different paths that you could follow, and now that's more like recent in like the newer movies. You see that a lot, but this back then you didn't see that very much. So this kind of like opened the bridge to that. And what I'm talking about is like obviously Han's story and then Luke's story. And Han was we're talking about this a little bit earlier, but Han was kind of like the main character for a bit of this movie, especially towards the beginning and stuff like that, trying to find Luke and stuff. And so yeah, I liked that. Han was very good, and also I like Luke's stories as well. His training and stuff like that. And there's points where it gets slow, but it always keeps you like intrigued and interested. Um, Whereas, like, I know I'm comparing this to episode one because you know why? Because it should be better than its predecessor. It should be better than the first one, and I think it did that pretty well. So I think the story and the plot is pretty good in my opinion.
Yeah, like you said, like it gets kind of slow sometimes, but I find that whenever it got slow, it always right after there's something big that happens. Like, oh, it's kind of getting slow with the Hoth, and then the Empire comes. Like it's they always make you like it's on the edge, but then something big happens. So same question to you, Nat. What do you think of the plot and story of Empire Strikes Back?
I think The Empire Strikes Back is booty. It's just bad. There's just nothing good about it.
Wow.
Yeah. No, but guys, let's be honest. Empire Strikes Back, it's a classic. It's a classic. And I think one of the biggest reasons is, like you mentioned, it does kind of like not only pay respect to its previous film, but it also builds upon the story. It makes it much more mystical. And there's something about it that just makes you like really just fall in love with the characters even more than you would have in A New Hope. You know, A New Hope was essentially just supposed to be a single film. Now, of course, there's some background knowledge from like George Lucas that he had like all these episodes planned since the beginning, which I don't necessarily think he did. But from where they took off from, I think it was just solid, like all the way through. There are some issues that I might have here and there with plot B, which I would say is like Han and Leia's story. But overall, yeah, it keeps you entertained. I mean, that's the most important part about movies. And I say this all the time in all my videos, you know, like the most important thing about a movie, it needs to be entertaining. And I think that Empire Strikes Back does it like all the way through. It might slow down a little bit here and there, but at least you're still entertained. So as far as the story goes, solid all the way through. I don't really think you can really attack the movie. I'm sure like with me, I have like pointed out like what I don't necessarily love about it.
Right.
But like I'm not you can't hate Empire Strikes Back. No. Not only just because of the movie itself, but also what the impact it has on not just, you know, the Star Wars franchise, but also like in movie fandom ever. So overall, yeah, story solid. One of the best.
I personally, yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely one of the better Star Wars movies. I don't think it's the best, but it is up there. And the story, I mean, it has a lot going on. Definitely more going on than Episode 4. It has different storylines. It kind of branches out towards the middle of the like Luke goes to Dagobah and Han Solo they go to the asteroid field. It kind of branches out, and it kind of they play to the characters' strengths. Like they make the storylines, they make it fit with the characters they have. So like Han Solo and Leia and Luke and Yoda and stuff. They do that pretty well. And, overall, it's pretty coherent. There's no flaws I can see. Seems to me it's pretty solid, and I like how they just build it upon episode 4, and they made it a bit more complex, but not too complex, not too confusing. But it's still pretty simple, but they just build it upon it. So, yeah,
I agree.
Well, that's the plot and story. Our next category is the characters. So we're going to start off with Luke. We got 5 characters that we're going to talk about. Let's start off with Luke Skywalker. So, Luke.
Luke Skywalker. I mean, what can we say? He's basically like the nice guy, the guy that will like help you out. Like in the first one, that's the role that George was trying to make his character, just like the nice boy, the good guy, and in the first one, saving the princess and stuff like that. And then this kind of evens out with Han's character, why they work well together. But I liked his story about how he was like struggling a bit with his lineage and how like, what the heck, dude, like I have to be the one to face everyone, like all by myself. I remember him saying that to you, like he has a lot on his shoulders, beating Palpatine, and he did a wrong move, and I think he learned from it 100%, and he also lost an hand. So definitely a solid character. I like him. If I were to have to put any flaws into this, I would have to say I think he's a little bit too much of a goody-goody. Like I want to see maybe a little bit more of.
That's fair.
A little bit more darkness. I know we get the cave scene and stuff like that, but I don't think there was any point in time where I thought that he was going to turn.
Actually turn, yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to see a little bit more of that, like because he is his father is bad, so I want to see, all right, is he going to turn? What's going to happen? But even when he did something for the wrong reason, it was for the right reason. Like when he left his training, it was a wrong decision, but he was doing it for the right intention. I wanted to maybe see maybe a bit of bad. We never got that.
Episode 6.
I mean, you could argue that, but at the same time, I don't think it was enough. Like I want to see a little bit more of that,
All right, we got a question. We're going to pause real quick. We got Crystal Customs saying, "How long do you think Luke was on Dagobah?"
A few months.
I would probably say that. Yeah, and Empire is also good because it started exploring the Force. If not for Empire, no Mortis gods, no Force lightning, no Force healing. So you're saying none of those things are good. You don't like Mortis gods or Force lightning or Force healing. I disagree with Force lightning. I think Force lightning is kind of cool. I mean, I don't think it's that overpowered.
I mean, only if it was overpowered, then everyone could use it. But guess who only could use it? Palpatine.
And Force Ghosts. Force Ghosts I can accept. Force healing, I understand your grievances with that, but
I like Force lightning. I was always a big fan of. I thought that was like that's a cool thing to like. If the Force is an energy. For instance, you could form like an energy of lightning out of it, So I always thought that was like cool. Healing, once again, is the energy. You could make a healing energy. I guess it depends on your personal opinion on how you view the Force, but I always thought it was okay. Mortis gods, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I always thought that was such an interesting arc for the Clone Wars. I just wish there was more exploration into that as far as the rest of the Star Wars universe goes. I don't know if, another TV show, maybe the Bad Batch will come across them or something. I don't know. But such an interesting concept that just got dropped. I'd love to see that explored at some point in the future again. But yeah, Force Ghost I'm cool with.
All right. Oh wait, I think he said I wish we saw more. I think he actually likes those things. So
okay,
mistaken there.
That's what I thought too. But yeah.
All right, so
like some of the best stuff. It's the best stuff. What are you talking about?
All right, so Luke Skywalker. What do you think of Luke Skywalker in this movie?
He's the everyman. You know, you can put yourself in his shoes, and you can roll with him. And I think that's what works really well with Luke. Like Luke in the stream mentioned, not Luke, the character. How Luke mentioned, you know, he is. There was this point where like you feel like the story is trying to make you go like, oh, is Luke going to turn? But like, you know, he's not going to turn. There is no big point for Luke that makes you realize that or makes you think he's actually going to turn, or at least be.
Ezra Bridger, like I liked that. I thought that was a little bit interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I agree with that point of view. Like he would actually, they did explore the idea of, you know, like Ezra doing some dark stuff, you know, which is cool. But yeah, Luke, I never had a feeling that he was going to come to the dark side. You knew he was going to be the hero. So, I mean, even if you want to go back to the prequels, and this is technically not a fair argument, but it is because, you know, the prequels are made after the originals, so they were kind of allowed, or Lucas was allowed to kind of like formulate the story to make more sense. But even with like Anakin, he does dark side type stuff. Even if you didn't see, you don't know anything about the originals. Like a buddy of mine, he never saw the originals, and he saw like some of the prequels when he was a kid. I think he only saw like episode 1 and 2. He never saw the third one. We rewatched it a few years ago, and he didn't know Vader was Anakin, right? He didn't know what was going to happen, but he knew about the dark side due to the movies, and with that, he could kind of deduce like, wait, is this main character going to turn? Is he going to be a bad guy? And then he does, and he was blown away by that. So that's really cool, and it's that shows that it's possible to make your hero actually seem like you don't know which way they're going to go, which branch they're going to take. Are they going to stay on the light, or are they going to turn to the dark? And so I think that's one of those things that episode 2 does really well. While there's a lot of complaints you can make about episode 2, it is cool to kind of see Anakin actually indulging in the darkness, you know, where Luke was always more afraid of it. And while Anakin was afraid too, he indulged in it. So it was cool to kind of see that. So that's probably like the biggest, like Luke said, that's probably, if I was going to complain about Luke, it'd be that. You know, episode 4's biggest complaint about Luke would have been he's a little whiny. And I think that's what everyone kind of says. But I think he's a solid character in this movie. The next one, of course, I think he becomes a little better of a character. They kind of they know which way he's going, and they can kind of like let that character free. But in this one, I think overall he's a solid character. He's forced upon. He has a massive job to do. He's got to take down one of the strongest, two of the strongest, most powerful beings to ever live, and he's new at this, you know. So I think he does a good job of showing him really just being young and being out of his depth and just having to do what he's got to do. It's also really cool, and this is a cool character moment for him, is the idea that, you know, Yoda is like, no, you have to stay here and train. And Luke's like, my friends are in danger. I'm not going to let them die. And Yoda's like, you go, you'll die. Like, you're not ready to fight Vader. And Luke's like, I don't care. I'm going to do what I can to save my friends. And I think that is a super powerful moment for Luke. It really shows just how, not just like, I mean, it does kind of show that he is also, you know, a little too emotionally driven, like Anakin was in a way, but also it shows that he is a good friend, and it shows that he has compassion. He's kind. And I think that's something that really speaks to me as far as Luke's character goes in this movie. So yeah, I like Luke. I don't think you can really complain about Luke that much in this movie, but
yeah, one thing good about Luke is in this movie is he does make mistakes. He doesn't get everything right like instantly, like some other characters in the Star Wars universe.
I wonder who you're talking about.
It's like he makes mistakes. He like his speeder crashed. Like he was on on Hoth. His snow speeder crashed. Like he crashed his ship in Dagobah, and he even failed to bring it up using the Force. So he actually makes more mistakes in this movie than he does actual successes. But the good thing about what he does is he builds from those mistakes, and he makes himself better out of it. And I think that's a good message. And he's also, like you said, he's pretty relatable. He he's basically a normal guy. Like he has his own aspirations. He cares for his friends and stuff. He's not like this like towering figure. He's just a normal person, pretty much. Makes mistakes and everything. So yeah, and that's definitely good about a main character if you can relate and if you can see yourself in a main character. That's a
Most important
definitely a
part.
triumph. Yep.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, overall, I think his personality also, I think it very much balances it out with other characters, like with Han and with Leia. I think they all complement each other in a pretty good way. It's like you said. I mean, I can't really complain about Luke. He's pretty well-rounded character, and in this movie especially. And yeah, so that's our thoughts on Luke. Let's look at some of the comments over here. Luke, he's relatable in the movie, and he's just trying to be a Jedi. But then the Empire attacks. Vader is his father. Han is lost. All this stuff happens to Luke. Yeah. He's basically a normal person. Then all this stuff happens to him. He finds it out, and yeah. Anakin fall was better than Luke resting in the dark because it would have been more impressive if he's surrounding troopers. Then it would have been more like, oh, so he's like, it would have been better if they showed a little bit more of Luke's dark side. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess to a point, like we mentioned about Ezra, one of the best parts about Rebels was seeing Ezra's kind of slow, I wouldn't say really descent, but more of like his slow grasping of the dark side here and there. The fact that like Luke would try to go out of his way to try to necessarily like solve things without violence for the most part, where like Ezra was just like, okay, bye. I'm just gonna force push you off the edge. See ya. So I think that's one of those things that like could have definitely been explored more with Luke. Kind of have him more of a dark arc before he actually becomes the Jedi we know.
Yeah, right. I think we see a little bit of it in episode 6 where he like chokes the hut guards, but that would have been nice to see more of it.
Yeah.
So Han Solo was our next character. So what do you think of the character, Luke?
This is, in my opinion, my favorite character in the movie. And I mean, again, it kind of intertwines with Luke, where Luke is kind of like the nice guy, and then he's kind of like you could say the bad boy. He's opposite in a way, but he kind of just changed. Like, whereas Luke would, like, if Han was in this position where like he's like, I'm going off to save my friends, Han would be like, it's all right. Like you can tell that kind of, but he does change for sure. The reason why he changes, a woman, go figure. But
women, who needs them?
But yeah, he definitely does kind of change. And then I think episode 6 is where we fully see him become, the good guy. He's with the rebellion. He's still got his personality in there, and he's still got his snarky remarks. But and this is kind of like his transitioning. This is probably his most important. Like, out of all the movies, this is probably his most important role, I would say. And kind of seeing him betrayed by Lando and stuff, and like the stuff he does, I think that kind of shifted him to the rebellion a lot more. Like at first he was indifferent, like especially in the New Hope, he's like, I don't care about them. I mean, they're kind of a-holes, but
yeah.
But now in this one, he's like, okay, all right, screw these guys. I'm helping out the rebellion.
Yeah.
So it just kind of gives him a new perspective. So yeah, that's why I think Han is my favorite for sure. And again, his attitude is lovable. So yeah, that's why I think Han.
Yeah, I think it's my turn. I don't want to jump. Okay, making sure I don't want to cause any issues here. One of the most interesting things about Han is that in the end of A New Hope, you see that spark of something. You know what I mean? When he comes back and he saves Luke,
right.
You see that spark. You know that there's something about him that he does deep down have a heart, and he has a passion, and he knows what's right and what's wrong. while Luke is the hero, he is the everyman. You have the anti-hero in a way in Han, and not that he's necessarily a bad guy, but he is, like you mentioned, he's indifferent to the cause. He's indifferent to the overall issue with with the Empire. And by the end of this film, of course, while he does, spoiler alert, get frozen. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm guessing everyone here has. But at the end, he has officially become the hero that we knew he could be. The biggest issue with that, though, is in episode 6, you see the progression. He's become, he has become that guy. It's great. And then, of course, sequels come in, kind of forget the growth he had. But we're not talking about those yet. We'll get to those. But as far as Han Solo in this movie, yeah, it's cool to see him actually become, because while you get the spark, like I mentioned in episode 4, in the beginning of episode 5, he's still kind of about himself for the most part, and you see that relationship that he has evolved with his allies, and he's becoming the character we see in episode 6, and one of the leaders of the rebels. So that's really cool to see a character who was just some scoundrel become something bigger than himself. So that's cool.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned his demeanor towards the beginning of the film. Well, I thought he was like, even though he wasn't like a hero yet. Well, he was, but not fully. He was still pretty likable, and I liked how they keep his. He doesn't become like Luke, where he's just he's pretty much always good. He still keeps his personality. He still keeps his towards the end of the movie. He still keeps everything, but it's just now he has better intentions. Now he has better goals and stuff. That's the only thing that changed with him, basically. And
I concur.
Yeah, and I like how the dynamic between Han and Leia, like they do.
I don't know, man.
No, not that. No.
That's for the expanded universe.
But I think he's just. I don't think it's just Han. I don't think it's just Leia why he stayed. I think it's partly because he did want to stay. He just didn't want to make it seem like, make it obvious to everybody that he wanted to stay. Because I think inside the Han is a very like. I don't think he did want to leave. I think he wanted to stay. It's just that he wanted to portray himself as this kind of like rougher figure. So, but overall, Han's probably my favorite character in this movie. He's pretty likable. He's pretty great of a character in general. So, yeah. So our next, let's look at the comments. So wait, I didn't know that. He also ends up going a year without aging because of carbonite. I did not know that prevents you from aging.
Oh yeah, I think I made that video one day. One of my age video facts. People were trying to disprove me. I'm like, no, think about it. He was frozen for a year, right? So that means he didn't age, and they're like, whoa, that's crazy. So
wow.
Yeah, I may have actually. Am the one who sparked that. So you're welcome, internet.
All right. And he also said he was good in this film because he's starting to become more of a hero and less of a smuggler. Seeing Lando was great because of him screaming when Vader torturing is great. Yeah, that was pretty.
That's a good scream. I always like that scream.
Yeah. Yeah, I like how he slowly becomes a hero and takes time. Yeah, it's nice to see the development of the characters instead of just being like perfect in the first movie. So,
especially with a character like Han, you gotta, if you want to do it right, you gotta approach that subtly. You know what I mean? Like you gotta start you gotta give that charm that makes you kind of latch to the character, but also like keeps you hesitant. Because then that makes you want to see him grow, and as he does grow as a character, you just fall in love with him more. So, yeah, Han's just overall a great character, not just because he's cool and funny, but like because he was written really, really well, and that's that's not always the easiest thing to do when it comes to characters like Han, like the anti-hero slash the cunning hero, I guess you could call him. So, yeah.
I think
go on.
off topic for 1 second. I think that while the characters in the sequels are kind of meh at best, I do think Poe, who is similar to Han, I think was a good character, well written.
I mean, it's the charisma, the charisma of the character, and I think that's what makes you latch on to him. So I'll agree with you there too. I mean, there are like, we'll touch on the sequels for a second here. Like, while the sequels themselves weren't amazing,
right,
rough, they do have elements in them that are really good, that could have really been amazing, but just they weren't able to always, get there. So
Yeah, it's just wasted potential.
Yeah.
But
basically.
yeah, let's move on to Leia. Leia Organa. Here's your next character. So Luke, what do you think?
I think she's great. All right, so she's basically like she's done right in the woman. Like, they try to make a strong woman characters. This one's done right. All right.
Yeah.
She's not all about like, oh, I'm perfect and I'm all this and I'm all that. No, like, she actually gets development. She has leadership. She's actually cool, and she's not powerful to the point where, I mean, she can do anything. You know what I mean? But she's able to. It's in the first movie, like in episode 4, she's able to keep up with the guys. You know what I mean? Like, she's able to shoot a blaster. She's able to make the plans and the decisions and stuff like that without having any force abilities.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's not as good as them, but she can keep up with them for sure, 100%. And I like seeing that for sure. I like seeing, like, Han and Leia had a good dynamic for sure. You get this, kind of player type of boy, and then you get this girl that's like very stubborn. So, and then when you get them together, their chemistry, it's kind of weird seeing that. I mean, it's good though too. You know,
Yeah,
what I
it
mean?
works.
Yeah, it works out for sure, especially when they both are kind of hard on the outside and they show their soft side a bit. So that's good to see as well. And honestly, when I saw the first one, like, I was like, okay, I didn't expect Leia to be with Han, and I thought maybe when you first watch it, you're like, okay, maybe Leia and Luke could be together. You know what I mean? And especially at the beginning of the second one, you kind of see like
they kiss.
Yeah.
Well, the kiss.
Man,
it's two things. I mean, they get hot and heavy, but then you also see the arguments between Han and her. So like, okay, so which direction? Who is she gonna choose?
I think that's
So-
like you mentioned. I'll cut in for 1 second. Like you mentioned about like their relationship. Han is a scrappy guy. We know that he is. He's held together by a couple like nuts and bolts type of thing. Like he is just out on his own. He's a lawless man. And then you got Leia, who is like she's right to the books. You know what I mean? She'll call you on your bull crap. And I think that's what Han really found the most impressive about her. Like, he was just like I do my own thing, but this girl's kind of keeping up with me, and I kind of like being told what to do a little bit here and there. I kind of like her a little bit, and that's a really cool thing for the character. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Or were you done with your statement anyways, or did I?
Yeah, I'm done. You can talk,
okay,
Chad.
cool. Then let's start. I'll go with my Leia point of view. Yeah, Leia's a solid character all around. I mean, like I just kind of mentioned why. And like Luke said, she keeps up with the boys. I think that's one of the best things you can do with girl power. I think as far as Rey's point of view goes, she was
better. Wants to be the best. Wants to be.
Yes.
I want better than all the boys.
The most important thing for a character to do, boy or girl, is to have their story. It has to be cohesive. It has to feel like it's real. It's not forced. Part of Rey, her character and like the different like plot points and as far as her powers come from, it's forced upon us. Where like when it comes to Leia's personality, you can tell like she is just like she's by the books and she doesn't take crap, and that's the most important thing as far as females go. Like a lot of the times, females in movies, they are just there to kind of entertain the men. Like the men are the real characters. They're just there. But Leia as far as like the movies, when movies came out back in the day, when Empire dropped, or I should even say A New Hope, women were just there for the men. Mostly the men were the ones telling the story. Not every movie, of course, but that's usually how it went. And Leia was like the first character to change that up. What's up?
She did entertain us for a little bit, you know what I mean?
Well, you got to have a little there, you know what I'm saying? But even then, her being in that slave outfit, which that's what you're getting at,
of
right?
course.
Yeah. Even her being in the slave outfit, it made sense for the story. She wasn't just in a hot bikini to like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I should cover up. It wasn't like Han Solo walked in on her. It wasn't that. Like she was in a slave outfit because she was captured by a slimy slug who likes his ladies in slave outfits. Now, this isn't about Jabba's fashion sense, okay? Because let's be honest, that's some good fashion sense, at least from my point of view. But it made sense for the character, right? And that's why. I mean, Leia's character, she stands on her own. She doesn't need the men to be able to have her own character. And I think that's the most important thing to do to show true girl power is to have them be able to stand on their own and not have to be forced upon the audience. And I think Leia does that very well. So I'm done with that part.
I like how Leia, she's very obviously she's very assertive, very opinionated. I like how her personality clashes with Han Solo often, but in the end, like obviously they all get sorted out, and I like the interactions they have, Han and Leia. It's probably one of the most enjoyable parts of this movie, especially in the beginning where they were like arguing, like Han was like, you want me to stay because you like me, not because of because of what I bring to the rebellion. Like I like how, like Luke said, the dynamic is very, very strong between the two. It's one of the best parts of the movie. But I mean, you guys pretty much said everything about Leia. I mean, well, we got a few comments over here, so let's. Not gonna lie, I thought Luke and Leia were gonna be together when I watched it for the first time.
Me too.
Same.
I don't remember when I first saw it.
It was a long time ago, but I kind of feel like I remember that.
8-year-old me
watched New Hope.
Yeah, 8-year-old me when I first saw Slave Leia.
That's 8.
Yep.
That's when I'm 18. All right. I mean, come on, it never goes away.
Yeah. Well, that's Leia. Let's move on to our next character, Vader. He didn't get that much screen time, but Luke.
All right, what can we say about him? I thought he was a lot better in this one than the first one, because in the first one
he was the character in this one. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because in the first one he's just kind of like that guy. I mean, he's scary and stuff like that.
He was the bad guy. He was just
basically.
Exactly, but in this one he kind of had more development. Like, this could be your son and stuff like that. Like, it kind of fleshes him out. We can see more of his rage, like killing a bunch of people. Like in the first one, he just kind of seemed like collected
a blank slate. He's just there for us to hate, for us to dislike.
Yeah. But in this one, he's actually like he's showing emotions. He's a very emotional guy, even though he's like, the way he is, the top dog and stuff like that. Well, he's not the top dog, but he's on the leash of the top dog, basically. And I think if he really tried, he could take Palpatine down. To be honest, I think if he really did try,
I agree.
And I think that's what his plan was the whole time. He was going to get Luke. They both were going to kick Palpatine's ass, and then, he's going to rule. And then when he gets old, he's going to have his kid. That was his whole plan from the start. But I mean, Luke, his son, had other plans for him. But it's good to see it. And I think it slowly gets there. Like in the New Hope, it's down here, Empire's here, and the Return of the Jedi goes all the way there. So he gets better and better. So I like it for sure. What do you think, Nat?
Like we said, when it comes down to Vader, like Vader was just a bad guy in A New Hope. That's what he was. We didn't know anything about his backstory. We didn't really even care. It was just we knew he was a bad guy. We knew he was going to try to stop Luke. We're on Luke's side. That's kind of where that comes in. And then Empire took this idea of just this, random bad guy and made him an actual being to not just fear, but to also like try to like attempt to even understand his motivations here and there, because they even introduced the Emperor in this one. Now, of course, not physically, but we find out, oh, there's a bigger bad beyond him, and so that's one of those things where, like, I think if you watch the prequels first, it in a way it could kind of like add upon. It makes you care more about Vader in Episode 4, but if you watch the originals first, you don't care about that guy. You just want Luke to kill him, because he's the bad guy. He killed the nice old man. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta kill him. But as far as like Empire comes in, it just expands upon the character altogether. And you still don't like him, of course, because he's the bad guy, but you at least can like understand the
His
character.
motive.
Yeah, motivations. Yeah. So that's kind of what the most important thing is as far as a bad guy goes. To really flesh out a bad guy, you have to at least understand where they're coming from, or for the most part, find some type of thing that connects you to them. So even though you want to see him die, you want to see him lose, you can at least be entertained by the character, because you're not just like there to die. Kind of like Maul in Episode 1. he was just there to die. Later stuff, of course, like Clone Wars made Maul a more improved character. But just the expansion of Vader's character, it was just solid. I really love Vader in this, and one of the coolest things about this is when he and Luke are fighting in the end, and Vader is clearly not trying. You know what I mean? Like, he's just testing, seeing how far Luke is. Luke has some training, which he finds interesting. Luke gets a couple of easy shots on him, or I shouldn't say easy, but a couple of lucky shots, and Vader's like, okay, he's not exactly, he knows something. Someone has been clearly, he knows something about as far as the Force and lightsabers and the Jedi. But he's still not to the point where, like, I might be able to still turn him. You know what I mean? I can still use this to my advantage. And it's cool that you can kind of feel that when they're fighting, you can't see Vader's face. You don't know what he's thinking, Right. But in the way his body is moving, the way he's like even talking, and just like the way he's handling the situation with Luke, he's not out to kill Luke. He has plans, and I think that's super cool for the character of Vader. So I guess, solid character.
Yeah. This movie, I think, has made Vader like probably one of the most intimidating villains, as he, like, you can just, one of the scenes, he really just chokes the guy like over, like, through a monitor or something, through like a hologram, and you can just see him choking. And I mean, and the music too, the music also plays into it. It makes him intimidating, but towards the end, it also humanizes him a little bit, because of Luke, him being the father of Luke and stuff. So he's still super, like, you're afraid of him, and you want him to lose, obviously, but there's also a little glimmer of hope in there that they later capitalize on that in the next Episode 6. So they don't just leave him as like the big bad guy who he just kills him. Like, they still leave a little glimmer of hope in there. So overall, a very menacing villain, very
iconic.
Iconic. Yeah, very, very iconic. Probably
the most iconic villain probably in cinema ever.
Yeah,
next to like the Shark and Jaws.
Yeah, it's
around that area. I mean, I personally agree with Jaws. If people start swimming in my water, I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat you. But that's for another video.
But yeah,
for another day.
Vader definitely made a. He's an icon. He's forever going to be an icon. Like 200 years from now, people are going to be talking about Darth Vader. So he's legendary, and overall intimidating villain, very well done, but also humanizes. So they balance it out a little bit. So yeah, you guys have any more thoughts on Vader, or?
I'm good.
Well, I said what I had to say.
Well, our last character, Yoda. So. What do y'all think of Yoda? Luke?
Well, I think he's an interesting character for sure. Because like when I first saw him, like in the Empire, I'm like, are you serious? Like, what's the purpose of having this guy? because he was like being annoying and stuff like that, and kind of like childish and stuff like. It's weird to see because he's never really like. Well, actually, he was with the younglings and stuff. He made some jokes. He was a little bit teasy in the Clone Wars, but in the movies, at least, we never saw that in the prequel movies. But I was like, what's the purpose of having him there? And then we actually get to see, like, he totally changes, like when he first like reveals Luke, I'm who you're looking for and stuff like that, you know. And I'm just like, the heck, this little green thing, like the way that they made it was very interesting and good to me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, what can this guy do? You know what I mean? Like,
it's a misdirection. Really, it's almost subverting expectations, but done right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's definitely good to see from Yoda, and his quotes very memorable. Probably Han and Yoda in the Star Wars original trilogies, if not the whole thing, they both got the most memorable quotes. 100%. Obi-Wan's up there as well. Oh yeah, well, yeah, all that. So those three, Han, Obi-Wan, Yoda, I'm all lovable. All right, there's a reason why people like Yoda, and this started it off, and I think they did a good job with it. So yeah, Yoda. What do you think, Nat?
So yeah, as far as Yoda goes, like you mentioned, the misdirection it's amazing. It's so good because like, not only does it teach you like the, you know, judge me by your size, do you, or by my size, do you? Mm-hmm. You know, that type of thing. Like it teaches you a lesson that like, there's a quote that I always loved. It was it's not the size of a dog in a fight. It's the size of the fight in a dog. Right. It teaches you that there's more to what meets the eye. There's more to the book than the front cover type of thing. I think that's just a solid way to introduce a character like Yoda. It's perfect. Because at first, like you said, he shows up, he's zany, and you're like, who is this guy? And he's like, oh, you know, I'll show you to Yoda. And then he's like, oh, I actually am Yoda. Haha. It was all a test just to see how you were. And then of course you're like, I think like clearly Yoda has been there for a long time. So he is also, you know, he is slightly kind of like messed up in the mind, you know. And so while he was putting in like into overdrive when he first met Luke, just to kind of like test him out, see what's going on here. It's just a great way to introduce such a powerful character, is to make us look down upon them and then be like, whoa, this is Yoda. This is supposed to be the guy that's just as powerful as Obi-Wan, if not more. Like what? Like that's just amazing. And like you said, I think that, of course, while the movies have always kind of helped to branch upon Yoda's character and make him, you know, more bigger, more powerful, like Clone Wars does this too, of course. Like the TV shows, movies, they always branch upon Yoda. This first meeting with Yoda, if you hadn't seen the other stuff, if you just came in from episode 4 and then you watched episode 5, like this is a massive shock and a huge point for Luke too. You know, because Luke's expecting someone probably like an older Jedi, like Obi-Wan type of thing, you know, someone who isn't kind of insane a little bit. But I think that's part of Yoda's charm. You know, he does have a sort of insanity to his character. And I think that like really works out because you're just not expecting it. So yeah, overall, Yoda's just what I wouldn't say he's more iconic than Vader. I think that Vader kind of transcends Star Wars, and even Yoda does that too. But I would say that like Yoda's like right up there too. And
Yoda's probably
all
second.
Cinema.
Probably second.
Yeah.
But you know, regarding his you know, Yoda's, you know, in the beginning when he was first introduced, his unorthodox, you know, behavior, I actually thought it was pretty amusing because like because I've watched Clone Wars, I've watched Yoda basically, and I always, when I visualize Yoda in my head, I see like a very, you know, like very much a teacher, very much not really too, although like he's a little bit weird, but he's not that. He's usually pretty wise, usually pretty collected. But watching him in this, it's actually kind of amusing to see him like go crazy,
be weird like that. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, hit R2, like it's pretty funny to me. I chuckle a little bit while watching it. Go on, Luke.
He's like a little bit of a like one of those crazy old dudes, you know what I mean? Like on the street or something like that. That type of behaviors.
Yeah, when he was hitting Luke, I mean hitting R2 and like
R2.
taking the flashlight. That was pretty good.
That was good.
Just like a little kid, basically.
But then afterwards, there's a contrast, and then afterwards, he's basically like saying all these wise stuff to Luke in the little hut, and so it's like, and by the way, that's probably one of the most like iconic things, like the quotes from when he was talking to Luke and stuff, like, no, he's too young, do or do not, there is no try. Like, there's a lot of quotes that come from that, and there's a lot of it's definitely iconic Yoda as a character.
Yes.
And this is probably the most later on when he gets like when he's training Luke, it's probably the most like wisest we've seen Yoda. Like even in the Clone Wars, he never got to he never acted that much like a teacher. But in this one, you can tell he definitely wanted Luke to be very successful, and he basically put all his knowledge into.
He's also very he was like, I don't want to train this guy. I'm done training Skywalkers. You know what I mean? That was also another aspect.
He got tired of Luke's crap. Like,
he was reluctant.
That was always cool.
He was tired of Anakin's crap. You know what I mean? He's like,
True.
we still have yet to clean up Anakin's mess, and we're having his kid come in. I don't know, man. I don't. So that was interesting to see as well.
I also like how
actually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I like how he kind of pushed Luke to do you can do this, like, because Luke was kind of doubting himself in a lot of this, like it can't be done, like with the X-wing, like he tried to push him, but Luke sometimes kind of just complained, but he tried his best, even though sometimes Luke still couldn't do it. But yeah, go on.
I think another thing about that dynamic was like not only did Yoda and Obi-Wan want Luke to take down Vader, the most sketchy thing about that is, for Yoda, do I train this boy like we did his father, and then just have him fall to the dark side anyways? And then we have three problems technically. Well, unless they kill the Emperor, but it's like then we have two Skywalker problems in this world. And Luke knows where I'm at. He's gonna come. He'd probably come kill me if he turned to the dark side. You know what I mean? Like, they'd probably just Death Star the entire Dagobah, just take it all out. I wouldn't want to go to Dagobah. This looks messy and dirty.
There's a lot of snakes too. So.
Yeah, it's just a lot of snakes. Yeah. So like that's something that Yoda is like tackling within himself, is the idea that like, look what happened with Anakin. Do we want the same thing to happen with Luke? Is it worth doing that? And of course he does eventually come along, because Kenobi, gets him to. But it is cool to see some type of like indecision within him, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any comments?
Yeah, we do. Turn myself into a bean. Yes, I have. All right. Drive my. Oh, this is like I watch a couple of these. It's from like a series, like a comedy type of thing. Yeah, that. We have a video on Grogu, and it's related to that because child support.
Oh,
yeah, we have a video. Luke has made a video on that.
That one.
So
I'll have to check it out. I'll have to dabble through your guys' videos. Actually, the other day I found your one video where like we were mentioning the hottest chicks, and I was like, "What are you guys talking?" You're like, "She's too mommy." I'm like, "Bruh, mom, what's your issue with moms, bruh?" That was fun.
Thinking about it now, I'd put him a little bit higher.
There you go. Good.
All right. Here's the thing. For me, it was only one. All right. It was Pepper Potts or whatever.
That one was fair. I agree with you there.
He kept doing it for a bunch of them. And I was like,
because again, keeping in mind, I'd probably put him a little bit higher now, but
Okay, good.
All right.
Let me catch
next
you again.
Our next
let's continue.
is the action. So, Luke, what do you think?
I think the action in this one was a big step up to the first one, actually.
Yep.
I agree.
Again, it's consistent. Everything's been a step up from the first, which is good. And as we're a lightsaber fight, obviously, was a lot better than the first one. they definitely improved on that. They had like Vader throwing stuff at him. They actually had a moving around, doing jumping. Like they went in different places throughout the Cloud City, whereas in the first one they just like stayed in one place basically for the whole time. And they just zin, 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 they just that the whole time. So I like seeing and they also put in like forms into this, like George Lucas made different types of forms with the characters and their fighting styles, and you can kind of see that. In the New Hope, there's no fighting style. It's just that's all.
No.
So yeah,
basically like fencing.
Yeah, basically. And then this one as well, we get to see the beginning. The Hoth battle was very good to see. I like that type of battle, and how they bring in like the big vehicles and stuff like that. That was very good to see. And kind of they brought in the elements of the the Star space battles as well. I think the first one was obviously better than this, but they like Han trying to get away and stuff, like find the TIE fighters, going through the asteroids. So the action was very well. I think the funniest action scene I would have to say is when like Han like went and shot like Han and Vader. In my opinion, I've wanted to see them like what would be their interaction? How would they?
Yeah.
Goes, he's like, all right, I'm shooting this bastard, and then he's like, nope.
Instantly just tries to kill him. Yeah, that is one of the good moments. I like that.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, okay, what the hell? Like, what am I getting myself into now? So that was pretty interesting to see. So yeah, the action is very solid in this movie.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Action is it is an improvement over A New Hope, and I think that's the most important thing that when it comes to sequels is they need to be able to not only pay homage to their previous their predecessor, but also be able to build upon what the predecessor created. And I think that's the action, just like the story, the action did the same. So pretty quick and easy.
You guys talk about visual effects because somebody I heard a doorbell, so I'll be back.
Oh, okay.
All right. Visual effects. You can go ahead.
Now that he's gone, let's talk behind his back. I don't like his face. Just kidding. Okay, yeah. So visual effects, they've improved. I mean, even A New Hope had mind-blowing visual effects for the time, but Empire, they just improved upon it. And lightsabers, I always thought like the one lightsaber effect in A New Hope when he's fighting the sorry, I have a train in the background. I don't know if you can hear that. Just a little bit, you might be able to hear it. The lightsaber effect when he's fighting that probe, you know what I mean? I never liked that lightsaber effect. I always saw it looked rough. Even the lightsaber effect in the beginning of A New Hope when Luke's like, let me look at my lightsaber, and like he almost stabbed himself in the face type of thing. Even that looked a little rough. You can see the jump cut, but you can kind of forgive it because of the time. And for the time, it was amazing. I'm sure no one complained about the visual effects back then.
Oh, yeah.
But for the most part, I'd say that, lightsabers look better. We mentioned about the action. The space battles look way better. I mean, New Hope didn't look that bad, but you can tell they were experimenting with like Empire. They knew what they wanted to do, and they could really just hammer that home. Overall, visual effects just got better. The original cut of the Emperor, the one with like the monkey splice. Hey, he's back. What's going on? If you guys remember that original effect with like I think they took like a monkey's face and they took like another actor, and they edited them together, and that's what the Emperor originally looked like. It's scary. It is. I don't know if you can look it up. The original way of the Emperor looked like from like the 80s. Look it up. It's way scarier than the Emperor we know now. But they went back and they changed that, of course. So in a way, they can always go back and change visual effects, especially like now, or I should say with George Lucas, he always did that. We know that with special editions. But even before the special editions, like Empire Strikes Back always had like really good visual effects. And part of that comes from the fact that it was mostly he's gone. Okay, I guess he doesn't like us. So
he's probably hanging out with Leia or something, just.
Oh yeah, or Han.
Oh,
But,
he's a good-looking guy,
Yeah. So the special effects, practical end of the day, they work really well together. And I think that that's what makes Empire really hold up just as much as far as visuals go. They worked really well being able to splice the two together and make it work. So, yeah, visual effects, very solid.
I would have to agree with you. The visual effects are obvious. We got it really good today, all right?
I'm back again.
Hey, he's back.
I see here's a little bit messed up what we're doing, dude.
Anyways, you gotta fix it.
yeah.
All right.
But yeah, we got it very good today, all right? Like with the visual effects, and you can say what you want about the sequels, but the effects are really good in there. Rogue One, really, really good. You know, in comparison to those, this is kind of like meh. But you know, for a 1980 movie, it's really good. You know, in comparison to other 1980 movies that you see, this one is definitely ahead of its time for sure. And you can still watch it today. Like New Hope, you can kind of see it for sure. But in this one, and as well as Return of the Jedi, it still holds up. Like you're kind of impressed by it almost. You know? Okay. So yeah, that's what I think of that.
All right, I'm a little behind, so I'm gonna rewind to action. So, all right, action. I thought it was good. It's a lot more larger scale than the last one. The last one, it was like little firefights, like nothing really too large, except for maybe the Death Star thing. But the ground combat wasn't too large of a thing. But in this one, they really made it like very like kind of a war. Not kind of. It pretty much is a war. Like they had the trenches and everything. And the models, and this is also going for the visual effects. The models in the in terms of like the ATs, the ATSTs, the turrets they have. I thought they were very unique, like especially for the time. Nothing like that. Like obviously, like we find it now to be like it's normal. It's just regular Star Wars stuff. But back then, it didn't exist, so they had to get it out of like they made it out of scratch. Basically, they had no. They made that out of their own vision, and I thought that's pretty unique, and especially how the snow speeders like take down the AT-ATs. I thought that was pretty unique. So overall, what they did was definitely revolutionary in terms of action, and especially for the time, outstanding. And for visual effects, I got into this a little bit as well. The visual effects in terms of AT-ATs and stuff, great, very unique. And the space combat was not any less quality than in the first one, although it may be a little less exposure because it was a bigger part of the movie in Episode 4. So overall, and also the lightsaber battle was a lot more unique. They made it more engaging with Vader throwing stuff like Luke said, and it's more like acrobatic too. Like they didn't just like fence like that. Like they actually kind of jumped around a little bit, and overall action visual effects fantastic.
Yeah, so, that's what we said the same thing. You sound just like us. We're all on the same mindset.
We're on the same page.
We should get someone in here that like hates it and just see what we can do.
I actually used to not like Episode 5.
He told me I was like, oh dude, no, we need to put like Episode 4 ahead of Episode 5. Even back like 8 months ago, like you could see our very first tier list, or it was like a first or second one. We had the movies, and he's like, "No Hope's better, dude. I don't know what you're talking about." I put in the A. I'm like, what the heck? I don't know about that.
Interesting. Why didn't you like it? Why didn't you like it?
I thought it was. I'm not really sure. I thought it was a bit too cluttered, like because there were a lot of storylines. Like there's Yoda and there's the Han and Leia, and it was a bit. I didn't like the end part of the movie, like towards the end.
Okay.
When Luke and Leia, especially, like the whole arc with Luke and Leia, I didn't really like the end of that. But I even put Episode 2 above Episode 5 at one point. So
no, that's fair because actually my review for this movie, I remember like one of the things about Empire is like what Luke is doing is so like much more interesting. I mean, like what Han and Leia are doing it's still entertaining, of course, but like it does feel like okay, at some points like let's get back to Luke now. I want to see what he's doing. I want to see this training. I want to see all this extra stuff going on. So I understand that argument.
Yeah, it's hard to balance out. Like if you have different arcs in the movie, you got to balance it out, like the interest that the viewer has on it. So, I mean, same thing with episode 2. You got to balance the Obi-Wan scenes and the Padme and Anakin. So
yeah,
Obi-Wan's was a lot more interesting. Let's just.
I actually disagree. I think the Anakin scenes and Padme were interesting, but
we know why. We know why.
All right, summary and rating. All right, we'll start off with Luke. What do you think?
All right, so overall, this movie, I would give it like a 94. All right, I gave like Revenge of the Sith a bit higher, like a 96 or something like that. So this one I give like a 94, 93 around there. Very solid. Obviously, it's not perfect. Sometimes people kind of like praise it a little bit too much, but I mean, I can understand it. I would say out of like all of the movies, it's my second favorite. So yeah, definitely very good. And summary wise, yeah, I think we briefed up on all the characters in the story very good. But yeah, so that's my rating, like a 93, 94, around there. How about you?
That's fair. Rating. Oh, okay. So I wonder what I said in the Revenge of the Sith review. I don't know what I.
Yeah, same thing. We had like a 96. I think
so 96. That's fair. I say the same thing with that. Empire for me personally, 93. Like you said, I think that's good. It's definitely in the 90s. Like 100 is like a perfect movie. For me, there is no true 100. Even like a 97, 98 would be like Return of the King with
right.
Lord of the Rings. Even that's like probably my favorite movie ever. But when it comes down to like, if we're talking about in the grand scheme of like quality movies, what is the better movie? I would say like the better just flat out movie between Empire and Revenge is Empire for me.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about Star Wars movies, Revenge is the better Star Wars movie. It just has so much more going for it. Empire is still amazing, but Revenge is a little more amazing for me anyways.
It's just everything that goes into it. Everything that impacts the twist,
Even in a way, strange to say, Empire is kind of this trilogy's Revenge of the Sith. Because usually, the second movie in the trilogy, I should say the second story in a trilogy is usually the darkest. And Empire does that amazing. The Empire wins in the end. And that's really cool to kind of see. Where Revenge of the Sith, it is the end of a trilogy and the Empire wins, where in Attack of the Clones, there really isn't that dark of an ending. So it's cool to see that. That's just kind of like another thing to kind of add into that as a tangent. But as far as this movie goes, 93, 94. That sounds pretty good to me too.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. 90, probably 94 for me. It's definitely, I definitely put it a lot higher than I would previously, like I said. Because when I rewatched it, I did get what a lot of people were saying about. I understood the storyline. I actually tried to look at it objectively, and I was like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. A lot of unique stuff in there. Pretty good action. It's overall a pretty well done film. And like you said, I think it is a more well done film than Revenge of the Sith. But Revenge of the Sith just has a bit more of a like an emotional and connection. I have a bit more of an emotional connection to that. Although this film is also quite good. So 94. Luke's gone, but
Where'd Luke go?
I don't know. But maybe he just needs to get sometimes he has to move because he has to get better Wi-Fi. But
okay.
But anyways, actually the questions. Our question was
questions for what? For me? From you
Yeah,
guys?
for you.
Oh.
All right, I'm back. I have the questions ready. All right, I got this.
Oh, that's why he went blank, because he's got the
Oh,
question.
yeah,
Okay, you guys planned this. Let's hear it.
So the first question that we have, are you ready?
Yes.
We have, and we talked a little bit about this earlier. What do you think of the Luke and Leia kissing scene, personally?
I wish it would have been expanded upon.
Oh, wow.
I'm talking full romantic scene.
And do you think we should have seen this?
Of course. Okay. They can both be wearing bikinis.
Okay.
Just to really,
Guys,
make it better. Yeah, but overall, here's the thing about that kissing scene. I appreciate it for the time of the story because you don't know their siblings, right? Because I even think like Empire Strikes Back gives a little bit of a hint that they might be related, but you don't 100% know. Of course, Return of the Jedi confirms it. If I was in charge of the Star Wars movies, I might consider cutting that out.
Yeah.
Just because it is like they didn't know they were siblings. We didn't know they were siblings. So it's accepted because it's okay. But it is weird. And I kind of feel like I would probably cut it out because it doesn't I think it is a little weird.
Leia, though, she said, though, in the 6th movie, I knew all along. Somehow I knew. I'm like, wait a minute. You know, like,
yeah, that's a little weird. But
you know what I mean? Like, I was like, wait.
You're right. You're
So
right. I always took that differently, but maybe you're right. Maybe she did know all along.
I mean, and to be honest with you, does Leia being like a twin have any like significance in the story? Does it have
It depends. Are they actually siblings or are they step siblings? Because that changes it up. You know, are they truly siblings?
I mean, Anakin is good looking, so I mean, Padme is as well, definitely. So they both could have, like, you know, had other people when they were apart, you know.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Could be the little horse.
I would have been fine with them making Leia not sibling, like making her like not related to Luke at all. Like,
yes, I agree with that too.
I don't think that would have really affected anything, like, at all. So I'm not sure why they did it, but
okay. And my next question is, what is your favorite character in all of everything? The TV shows, the movies, everything.
So my favorite character of all time, as far as Star Wars goes, is Qui-Gon Jinn. The reason why it's Qui-Gon is because I feel like the way he views the Jedi, he sees the issues with them. You know what I mean? But he also is more entwined with the Force, like even more so than regular Jedi, because like it's almost like he understands it more. He uses it less as a tool and more as like a state of like living, a state of mind almost. And I think like if I was a Jedi, and this might be one of the reasons why, I mean, Liam Neeson's awesome too. Like, yeah, who doesn't love Liam Neeson? But and a green lightsaber, you know, that'd be like my lightsaber color. But I think one of the things the reasons why he always appealed to me was because like he is also like he is the key to all of this. You know, George Lucas might say Jar Jar is the key to all this, but Qui-Gon is the key to the entire saga. I personally believe had Qui-Gon survived and actually trained Anakin, Anakin would have never turned to the dark side. Because Anakin needed that guidance, not just like as a father figure, but also he needed a character who can understand that the Jedis have faults and can teach his apprentice that. And Anakin would have learned to more understand his emotions and less be controlled by them. And I think that's one of the biggest elements as far as Qui-Gon goes. And I think people don't really always put that together. You know, Qui-Gon might be one of like their favorite characters in the Phantom Menace, but they forget like he is the deciding factor here. You know, if he lives, you know, like the Duel of Fates thing that people bring up, you know, if he lives, the saga it doesn't go the way you know it to. So it is that's one of the reasons, like I mentioned. Not only is he Liam Neeson and he has the green lightsaber, but he has a much more massive impact on the entire saga. So that's why he is my favorite character. But my second favorite is probably Anakin, just because, you know, Anakin is dope.
Yeah.
Especially angry Anakin. I love angry Anakin. Just amazing. But yeah.
Before we get to our last question, big one by the way, do we have comments?
Yeah, we have so Zoozify says my favorite is Revan, for including EU. Knights of the Old Republic was one of my favorite games when I was younger, and I really enjoyed the story, even if it was a little cliche. Yeah, Revan's definitely. You know, I'd like to. I haven't played that game yet. I'm actually working on it right now, so maybe I'll like Revan after.
Rated? I could tell your little reaction there.
Oh no, are you talking to me? Like, oh yes, yeah. Zeusify is he's an interesting guy. You know, he's always trying to pick some fights. You know, that's just how he is. But no, I'm just kidding. He's a nice guy. When it comes to Revan, though, yes, I really if we're talking like because Revan right now is technically still non-canon. If we're talking non-canon, he's definitely in my top 5 somewhere. And just because of the extra information that goes into the extended universe, or I guess not called the extended universe anymore. It's the Legends, yes. So
Yeah,
he has a massive impact on the Old Republic. He's kind of like the Anakin of his time, but like reverse, which is really cool. Like starting Sith, becoming Jedi,
And then when like he keeps switching.
Yeah, well, see, that's where it gets a little weird. Like SWTOR kind of like made him more like he went from being Anakin and turned into like a Jesus character, kind of, in the way that like not like Jesus, like who Jesus is, but like his he goes to take on this much bigger threat that he's not prepared for, that he thinks he is, and then they look at him as like a ultimate like powerful being, but you never truly get that, and so later Revan's not as good as early Revan for me, but yeah, the KOTOR games are amazing if you haven't played them. The second one's pretty good, but the first one's really good. I heard there's actually going to probably be a remake soon.
Oh.
So updated graphics, that sounds good. You know, EA, they're actually trying with their Star Wars games again, so that's good. I heard Battlefront 2 is a lot better than it was when it first came out.
We streamed that a lot, and honestly, it's very enjoyable. We've had some good moments.
Yeah, we might stream it later on today as well.
So, there you go.
Yeah.
And then Fallen Order, I've played a little bit of that too. That's a really fun game. So I think for me, mostly Cal, it's taken a little bit for me to kind of like Cal. Not that I hate him, but like his character is just a little more not really for me. I don't know. Might take a little more time, but for right now, that's what's probably distancing me the most from that game.
Okay.
But yeah, KOTOR 1. It's so good. KOTOR 2 is still good, but I do think KOTOR 1 is a little better for me. But that's because I also played KOTOR 1 first when I was younger, and I was more like, whoa, this is so cool. You know? Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Let's see. Jar Jar is the best. That's debatable, but...
debatable by no one.
Star Killer is another favorite of mine, but that might just be because Sam Witwer is awesome.
But
so.
You know, when they first announced Star Killer, I think let me think. How long ago is that? 2008? That game come out? So I was like 13-ish, 14-ish. Whatever the case. Wait, was it really that old by then?
Yeah, 2008.
Wait, wow.
How old are you now?
I'm 83. Wow. Oh, at least my back says I'm 83, but I'm only a 26 right now, so a ripe young 26-year-old. When that game first came out, I actually did not like the look of Star Killer. I thought that I didn't know Sam Witwer as a person yet, and I remember seeing him and being like, "This guy looks boring." Eventually, I played the game. I'm like, okay, there's more to this guy. More. I as the game goes on, you like him more. It's kind of like how I feel like for Cal. He looks kind of boring to me. So I'm sure as the game goes on, I'll like him more. But yeah, by the second one, I remember the second one flopping though. Oh my gosh, I don't know. The action was actually more fun than the second one, but I remember really feeling let down by that one. I think because it's so short. Like the first game I was playing forever, I bought all the skins, you know, and then the second one I completed once. I'm like, that was it. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but that's how I view that.
All right.
And now, for the final question. All right. Are you ready for this? Right?
Let's hear it.
Leia or Padme? Just straight into it.
Leia or Padme, both hot mamas. So
we all can do this, by the way. The winner vote. All right. There's going to be a winner, so let's find out.
Okay, we're all of us are going to be answering this.
Yeah.
And then the comment section, they can do it too. They can join in.
Well, what do you guys hear? What do you guys think first? And I'll give my opinion then, because I want to hear what you guys have to say. Here's the thing. For me, Luke, you seem like you're a Padme guy.
I am. Yeah.
You're more of a slender. You like that slender, athletic type bod.
That's right. You guessed right.
And then Shad, that's your name on here.
Yeah, that's my name. That's my name.
Oh, is your name actually Shad?
Yeah, it is.
I thought it was something else.
Like
Okay.
what?
I don't remember. Whatever the case. Okay, so Shad, cool.
Yeah.
You seem like a Leia guy.
You're right. You're right.
seem
I'm
like
very
you got-
passionate about it.
You like them a little, a little more meat to them, but not too much meat, but like, a little bit more. Okay, so I got that figured out. Okay, so for me,
How about you?
You seem like a Leia. All right. You seem like a Leia guy. I can see it.
well, here's the thing. I think I've a couple of videos in the past. I've done like this type of thing, and I've answered both of them at different times. So I think it depends on what I'm feeling that day. So Padme, I think overall, Padme is more beautiful. I think if I was going to imagine a princess, Padme would be the princess. But Leia she's got a little bit more to her. You know what I mean?
Oh, we know.
Little
The
more
slave
grab.
outfit.
You know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying. No. So
Yeah.
I think if I'm going to choose, it all depends on how I'm feeling. I don't know if I can give a true.
What are you feeling today?
True answer. Today I'm feeling Padme.
Okay.
No.
I feel Padme. Yeah, and I'm feeling. But here's the thing. Maybe tomorrow I'm feeling Leia. It all depends. Usually I feel Leia, but for right now, top of my head, Padme.
I agree.
She got my vote.
Respectable. So, well, that's our Empire Strikes Back review.
And
Make
A
sure
little bit more
to
on the side. Doc. A little bit more on
a
the
little
side.
bit more, but make sure to subscribe to Netlines' channel. I put in the description.
Turn on
He has a pretty
notifications.
good channel.
Yeah,
Turn
turn
on
on notifications. My
Yeah.
channel is shadow banned, I think. So I need to get out of
Yeah.
that shadow ban. So let's do this, people.
So, yeah. Well, this is Entertainment Crew signing.
Out.
And the force is with you.